what are your first impressions? Do you think you ever want to go back to what college football was before, or would you rather have just a MAC only schedule for the rest of your life? Because I am totally down with league only schedules. That is fun.
If we get
In a perfect world. In a perfect
sure,
world. You know
sure.
that.
If we get 10 MAC matchups in a season, yeah, I think I could be down with it. Like I'd be fine with having
10.
one or
I like it.
two non-conference bye games. NIU's gotta, Kent State's gotta make their budget, so still have that non-conference game. But
I like not like I like
I'd like some
starting the
more.
season with games that matter. I hate starting the season with games that are unwinnable or a little bit too
Yeah,
winnable.
coaches also. I mean, to an extent, coaches also like the ability to see what they've got before conference play too. That doesn't mean that we need to want it, but
No.
that's also part of the reason there's disincentive for them to want to do that.
Well, most of us aren't coaches, so who cares what they want? Welcome to Mac Football Forever. I'm Alex. That's Caleb. Caleb, we're doing pretty good with this show. I gotta say, I was a little scared that we ventured into this YouTube thing, never having done this before. I think you and I are having a lot of fun with this.
You hear that? That's me patting myself on the back. So yeah, I mean, we're doing it's going well. Would like some more feedback, some more shit cannery from folks engaging with us. I would love that because
We are.
Mac
No,
fans are
we're
Mac
getting some
fans.
good feedback. Don't
Mac fans are the best fans. Oh, I'm not trashing them. I'm just saying I want more because I love engaging with Mac fans because they're just as ludicrous and dumb as we are. It's great. I love it.
Well, now they have no excuse but to engage with us because it's not like they have any Big Ten games to attend to this year.
Ew.
Hey, come on. I know who you really are. I know you Mac fans better than you know yourselves. I know you.
Yeah, your buddy, your roommate from freshman year of college who didn't go to the football game because they went home to watch Ohio State.
I got
Michigan
season tickets for
State.
Michigan.
My mom sat on the 30-yard line every year for the last 20 years watching Michigan State get steamrolled. No.
He actually does have U of M season tickets. He's actually a lot of fun, and his family is too, so I'm not going to talk crap about them. They're lovely people. The week one MACtion in the books. It happened. We were wrong about some stuff. We were right about a lot of stuff.
The first part was always going to happen. We were always going to be wrong about a lot of stuff.
Let me quickly read off the scores, even though you can see them on your screen, even though you saw them on Wednesday night, even though you've been dorking about it on the internet on Thursday and on Friday too, leading up to watching this to see what we have to say, which, spoiler alert, nothing good. Miami 38, Ball State 31. Central beat Ohio 30-27. Buffalo beat NIU 49-30. Good job, defense. Toledo beat Bowling Green to get back its rivalry trophy 38-3. Western destroyed Akron 58-13. And Kent State beat Eastern 27-23. Caleb, where do you want to start?
Let's look. Shoot, let's start from the top. It's honestly one of the more intriguing bits of the week anyway, Miami Ball State. So let's just start from the top.
Two big things to talk about. One, Miami won the game, and that's important to say because it was a big game. Two, Brett Gabbert was knocked out of the game. I don't know what his status is moving forward, but he was knocked out, and A.J. Mayer had to step in. Did well, but you're still without your starting quarterback. Caleb, where's your mind at? Where's your mind at after this game?
Without even looking ahead yet, I mean, the one thing we talked about previously was wanting Gabbert to show that he was ready to kind of take that next step and excel at a higher rate, even look like a championship quarterback. Which I mean, it's just a name; it's nominal only. He is a championship quarterback. They won one, but to see okay, what does he have the type of talent and the type of poise to really make Miami a team that shines this year? And unfortunately, we didn't get to see as much of that as we would have liked, but Miami being Miami, they won a football game that they trailed by 11 and did not really struggle to do so. Ball State, mounted a little bit of a run. They came back from 10 down to tie the game. And, I mean, Ryan McWood makes a really big play, tips the pass, Drew Plitt. Unfortunately, I just don't know what in the world Plitt was doing on that last drive.
Yeah, you got to say it in the other way around. Plitt made a bad play, and Plitt was fortunately in the right spot at the right time. Not to take away from him and not to totally dog on Plitt, who had a big game. I think it was his fifth or sixth 300 passing yard game of his career. So I don't want to shit on him. Like, he put up 31 against Miami's defense. That's not easy.
Right, and they scored in every quarter. They scored a touchdown in every quarter, too. So no shame there. Caleb Huntley looked great as usual. The line opened up some big holes, which is not saying nothing against a very good Miami defensive group. So props to Ball State and what they were able to do in really an all facets of offense. They just came up short in some big possessions in the middle of the game, too, not just at the end of the game. So they're not feeling good about themselves, but no shame in losing at Miami. And Miami showing like what a championship football team looks like down the stretch. And Mayer, he didn't have to do anything special. Got guys like Jack Sorensen, you don't have to.
Let's focus and talk about Mayer a little bit. Obviously, Brett Gabbert, he only had, I believe it was 8 pass attempts. You can probably see it on the screen if you haven't already. Limited on his throws, was knocked out early by Bryce Cosby, the very experienced safety on Ball State. Really dumb move. I'm sure he's kicking himself in the ass for that. Why would you want to treat yourself to a bad time like that? You waited all this time to play football and you knock yourself out early just because you wanted to play passionate? Come on, man. AJ Mayer steps in. He was someone who was redshirted his first year on campus, and redshirt freshman year. He could have won the starting job but lost it to Gabbert. Steps in, didn't flinch, was 16 of 24, no interceptions, 3 tutties. Looked good. I mean, I think Jack Caldiron, those two went to the same high school together in Kentucky. Those two look together. I think they connected thrice. Jack Sorensen, again, he made some big plays on the offense.
Yeah.
He's the guy that I'm sure a lot of people are like, wow, he's still there?
Yeah, I had the same reaction. And, I mean, defensively, too, some really big plays down the stretch. You talk about losing guys like Doug Hostin, but then you've got Lonnie Phelps came in with 2 sacks. I think Miami had 5 sacks at least overall.
They got 6
last night. 6. So they got 6 sacks.
Mm-hmm.
So, geez, I mean, yeah, sometimes when you're playing a team like Ball State, you can pin your ears back a little bit and go get them. But that's not Miami's fault for going to get the quarterback. So
for sure,
the defense did really what it needed to do. Yeah, you'd probably hope for not to put them behind the 8 ball like they did early in the third quarter, but they responded just like they're supposed to.
So CMU, the defending West champs, they took down Ohio 30-27 on Wednesday night. A hard-fought game again. I mean, you paid pretty close attention, I think. What did you see here?
Yeah, I mean, so the one thing I liked about how this game kind of went was just you see the team that is the favorite go up early, but Ohio, who, they're no slouch, but I took my own shots at them early and saying that not that they're going to be a bad team, but just there was nothing that really stood out to me that I thought would be impressive.
Mm-hmm.
Quickly in this game, you saw the first 2 scoring touchdowns for Ohio were from Shane Hooks and Isaiah Cox, 2 very good receivers. And we saw Tuggle be the feature back instead of O'Shawn Allison this time around. And the offense, I mean, they had it. They were ready for Central.
Mm-hmm.
There's no doubt
Tuggle
about
also
it.
had that, I think it was like a 97-yard return.
93-yard kickoff return. And that actually put Ohio up at the time. That was right after the half, after Tuggle's touchdown had
tied it up.
Tied the game.
Wait, oh, no, you're right.
Yeah,
27-20.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yep.
He had 2 straight touchdowns.
But that was the last score of the game for Ohio. Central scored the next 10 points, held Ohio scoreless. Ohio struggled. Curtis Rourke struggled a little bit to hold on to the football, and they were not able to get things down the field. They couldn't get the run game going, so it just kind of fell apart for Central. Central won the game just like you should at home, and I mean, in a game with 2 redshirt freshman quarterbacks between Rourke and Richardson, neither one of them was just a step above the other, but Central Michigan took care of the football and Ohio didn't, and that was just as much a difference as anything.
Yeah, and Rourke, he lost it once, but he put the ball on the ground twice against Central. That's not good. He also had like negative 200% less rushing yards than his older brother would have. So if Curtis is going to make a name for himself, it looks like it's just going to be with his arm. Is that the case? I mean, do I have that diagnosis right?
I have to think that that's the reason he's out there. I mean, we talked about what we thought the Ohio offense could look like with Armani Rogers as the quarterback, and Rogers saw time. There was a point in the game where Rogers was trotted out there in a tie football game in the second half, it was 2020 and sees a drive, they go 3 and out, nothing really happens. Or if it wasn't 3 and out, it was like 5 plays or so. And then later in the game, he comes out there again and the only thing that had gone wrong at that point for the Ohio offense was a fumble. So over Solich's time as the Ohio coach, he's not shied away ever from playing multiple quarterbacks early in the season to see what he's got, see what's in the arsenal and what tools are at his disposal. But to make that call, but it was still weird at the time to be like, okay, you're going away from work at this point just because what? Because he made a mistake on the road and against the defending West champion? I think you could kind of have a little leeway.
Caring too much?
Yeah.
You're punishing me for caring too much?
Kobe Lewis, really good game. Central came up with some big defensive plays, too. They kicked a field goal with 9 minutes left, and nobody else scored after that. So,
Daniel Richardson can ball a little bit, too, man. I like him. He's pretty good.
I do, too.
Kobe Lewis, strong running back. So, looks good. Central looks like a team that should win the West. Yeah. Straight up.
And, as soon as Richardson – and I say this with him saying he looked good – they link up a little bit more with Sullivan and Pimpleton. Like, they really have a down-the-field threat. And I like what Richardson could do that, yeah. I still don't know what I would have expected with David Moore as a quarterback, but at this point, I don't think they care that much anymore. They're not stressed about it.
Doesn't seem like it, but, Richardson did have about 20 incompletions, something like that, so that's something to consider. If he can just clean up a little bit, if he can just if he's given 40 more throws, if Daniel Richardson can up his percentage, then the defense can afford to make some mistakes if they do. You know what I mean?
If I was Central Michigan's quarterback, I would simply complete 70% of my passes.
Yeah, simply. It's just something for him to work on. But for now, pretty damn good. Buffalo. NIU, good job NIU for scoring 30 points, honestly. I didn't think that they were going to get that much, but it seemed like a lot, like half of those 30 points came in garbage time, right?
Yeah, they did. And where the credits kind of owed there is just, early on, NIU has, honestly, maybe John Richardson might be one of the better. He's got to be up there as one of the better kickers in the conference. He made some big kicks last year. Collins scored early, so they know Aaron Collins is their feature back. So there's that. But, Jarrett Patterson ran crazy and showed why he could probably score like 15 touchdowns this year. They looked good from the beginning and never slowed down.
Well, I want to give him a shout-out. He only scored twice. Only twice.
Only broke the school record for rushing touchdowns.
35. My big takeaway here is that I hope the Detroit Lions, my favorite NFL team, was watching this game, specifically for 2-6.
I personally would love to see him get his shot at the pros.
He will. He will.
He's going to be he'll be on a training camp roster. I don't know where it'll go from there, but I'm very interested to find out.
Yeah, and that, I think that's just coming from a place where, we've seen this before. We've been hyped up on incredibly promising NFL talents that have made us fall in love with them for multiple years, but then once they get to the NFL, not so much.
Yeah.
I'm going to take the side of optimism and say,
absolutely.
He's absolutely good. I think he can actually and especially at that position, running back, that is so hard to bank on. We're lucky if he gets 10 real games as a running back in the NFL, right?
People don't realize how much just seeing time on an NFL field is such a huge positive. It's so easy to talk about flameouts and guys who didn't make it and never made their mark, but if you made an NFL roster and you saw time on the field, they gave you a few carries and they decided we're going to give you a few carries next week and not cut your ass, that's a success for a lot of people.
Yeah, oh yeah, because no one can ever take those moments away from you. Buffalo, Jarrett Patterson had his good game. Kevin Marks didn't need to have a great game because, by then Buffalo was up by a ton. Kyle Vantrease looked pretty promising at quarterback. He looked like the best option, I guess. And
he looked like he was a quarterback.
Yeah. Antonio Nunn looked pretty decent.
That's exactly just how I'm going to just continue to describe Kyle.
He's just
Kyle
pretty
Ventries.
decent, but he's
just supposed to be there. No, freaking 3 defensive touchdowns.
Had two scoops and scores within a minute. And then Kadolfi Wright had a, 66-yard interception?
Yeah, 60, 65. Yeah, 65. And at that point, I mean, he sniffed out a screen too, so he was already running full speed ahead when he caught that pass too. So for NIU to be in that game down 5 right out of the halftime break, it'd be, it's a close game, playing competitive ball. Cole Tucker catches a touchdown pass right for the half. You're probably thinking, oh crap, okay, maybe NIU's finally figuring out this offensive thing. They've got some balance. They're hitting Tyrese Ritchie. Cole Tucker scores. So okay, how do they come out of the break with the football, or at least they have the football early in the second half? What happens? Fumble, touchdown. They get the ball back, fumble, touchdown. Oh God, what's happening? And then they get the ball back again, score again, and at this point, it's no longer a game. What happens? They throw a screen pass, intercepted, touchdown, and that has all the markings of just a young team, and that's what NIU is. So it's almost like, yeah, we saw the where they can be, and then also saw how bad things can get very quickly.
Let's end on this question. NIU has the best red jerseys in the MAC, correct?
Oh my goodness, I love their new jerseys. I think they're rad.
Yeah, those are really good. Like the white outline is like done perfectly on those jerseys. It doesn't take away from the thickness in the black numbers. It's the red itself is good. Yeah. It's all perfect.
The only thing they have to do now is put the cornstalk field in play, and then I'll be happy.
Toledo destroyed Bowling Green by, 35 points, but it was weird because Toledo put up 21
21.
Toledo put up 21 quick ones in the first quarter, and then nothing in the second quarter because Bowling Green's defense came out, and then only 17 in the second half. Why didn't Toledo score more than that? I didn't pay too much attention to it. I spent most of the night just being angry at the Eastern game, which we'll get to at the end of this. And also I didn't feel like this is the game that I need to waste all my brain cells on because, there were things from Bowling Green that I was looking forward to seeing, and then just things that I saw out of Bowling Green that just made me say,
we knew that their run defense had the potential to be really bad based on what they did last year. And watching the film back, there were just waves, just the parting of the Red Sea between the tackles. And Toledo was running a ton of read option type stuff, and the ends were coming off, and I don't know what their assignments were in terms of taking the quarterback versus taking the running back, but it almost looked like they were making the wrong decision repeatedly. And Seymour and Kovac just carved them up. And if there's anybody I like watching run the football out of the spread, Toledo and the MAC does it the best, just entertainment, and they always have good backs. They always have a good offensive line. So that was fun to watch just on replay. So if you appreciate some good spread offense running the football, watch that game back from last night.
Toledo's offense ran 84 plays for 524 yards. 52 of those plays were rushes, and they did it for 310 yards. That's 6 yards a carry. Not going to lose many football games doing that.
Oh.
You'll get a lot of stuff done pretty quickly doing that, actually.
Yeah, and I will say that for all the questions about the quarterback situation, Peters got the nod, and he looked like he was really stoked to be playing in that game. Like, watching it back, he was the guy who was always hyping up the teammates after plays, really excited after a big throw, like just like a chains moving pass for a first down in the third quarter or whatever. Like, he was all about it. You could tell he was one of those guys who was just stoked just to be playing a game finally. And if he's playing with that type of poise and, they actually make strides in the passing game, he was 20 of 32 for 214 yards, 4 touchdowns. I'm excited to see what their passing offense looks like in just a few weeks.
He had a really bad fumble.
Yeah, he did. I wasn't even going to mention it.
Oh, my God. I'm just watching it on my end right now. Oh, my goodness. Why did that's a regrettable fumble. I don't know. He did have a good game against Bowling Green, and that's where I'm going to leave it at, I guess. Matt McDonald statistically did not have a great game. But I'm very impressed with his athleticism. Um, he does throw the ball wicked freaking hard
Oh, he does,
and
yeah.
can throw it over the moon. Sometimes I just don't think he needs to throw it that damn hard.
Right.
I'm like, all right, man, I get it.
I mean,
Like,
the
have you ever
8 of 30. You can't shake down eight of 30 as, oh, he just didn't make some targets. But like, you're right, he does throw the ball really hard.
Yeah, it's like I played baseball, right? And I played some first base because I'm a bigger guy. And a couple times I would play with a second baseman who would just like try to be too much of a hard ass and just like pitch it to me. I'm like, man, we're right here.
I mean, I did that and broke a teammate's nose once. So, Alex Neary, shout out to you. I'm sorry. Like 15 years later.
No, I got nothing. No. I never got hurt. I got a glove, but
They
yeah,
broke his
I
nose.
mean, Matt McDonald, I can see why they like him a lot. He's incredibly strong. He's someone that Bowling Green can build this offense around for years to come if he's willing to be patient with it too. Um, but I don't know. For now, I just don't like the pieces that surround him. I guess I don't know.
I
Bowling
mean,
Green's offense just has a long ways to go.
yeah.
And it's just I can't get over just how crazy of a setback the last few years have been for Bowling Green.
I mean, that's you make
Like
one
this,
bad. It's amazing what one bad coaching hire can do for the entirety of the program.
Western Michigan 58, Akron 13. I don't really have a whole lot to say for obvious reasons.
You wanted to pick Akron.
I did, and I wanted to be right about it. And I mean, it's a new week, right?
It's a new week. Yeah, I mean, technically.
Kaleb Ellaby, Western's quarterback, had a big game. He, 12 of 16, 75% throwing. I think he had 3 tutties. So, I mean, yeah, it was Akron, but it was a good game by him. Good game out of that offense.
And you got to see him show off his arm a little bit, throw it down the field, and that's when you're like, your eyes pop out, and you're like, this is what you're looking for. this is what we wanted to see from Ellaby. So to see that early in the season and some fireworks right from the get go, like, yes, this is gonna be good.
Yeah, and nobody's learning that his receivers are incredible. Like,
yeah,
we're just knowing that right now that they're healthy and they don't have COVID. We hope.
Thanks, crossing fingers.
Running backs, they're all kind of new and they all look good. So if they keep producing well outside of this Akron game, Western looks like a team that maybe should have got more first place votes. Who knows?
I mean, I know I picked him for a reason.
Yeah, I mean, you did. I did not.
But I mean, Sean Tyler was going to be. I don't even think you know who. Sean Tyler was a feature back, kind of. He came in as the guy who was supposed to get all the carries, but then Ladarius Jefferson got cleared. He had 70 rushing yards. I mean, 218 rushing yards, 5.6 yards a carry. Western always has another extra running back who averages like 5-6 yards a carry as a backup. It looks like Jackson Kincaid's that guy this year potentially. If it's not, between Tyler and Jefferson, neither one of them establishes themselves as the main running back. So the running game looked great. Passing game looked great. Akron made everything, and Western did look great. It actually almost looked like it could be a shootout early on after the Zips kicked a field goal of 16-10 in the second quarter. And, then the whole, he outscored him, what was it, 42-3 the rest of the way. It's all good. That probably should have happened. It's whatever.
Yeah, Western definitely has multiple guys to throw to, multiple guys to hand off to. Akron, what do they got?
I'm looking at receiving, and like Michael Matheson, I didn't even recognize the name, but he had a touchdown yesterday for him. 6 receptions, 44 yards. He was the leading receiver. Jeremiah Knight, that would go a long way for Akron, just having somebody who can carry the ball. Like, their rushing numbers are actually decent. And I don't know how much it came from the first half.
It seems like they already surpassed, like, the final 2 years of the Bowden era rushing. That's what it seems like they beat already, because
they're already definitely better in the run game, and that's for sure. That's a step they've taken.
Yeah. Got to establish the run, right? It's football. Kent State, EMU. So here's the thing. Eastern probably should have won this game. Eastern, how much did you watch? Because I know it's on ESPN Plus.
I watched almost all of it because it was the primary game I could watch with ESPN Plus. So I paid pretty close attention. I was watching Ohio Central also, but for this, you're right. Eastern had just as good a chance to win the game and made plays late, but Kent State just came up with a few more.
Yeah, Kent State came up with a lot of plays early. I knew that Dustin Crum was going to throw deep to Isaiah McCoy a lot because,
yes.
If you're not going to stop that, then you're not going to stop Kent State.
Yeah, and a ton of single coverage. They were throwing a ton of single coverage at McCoy too. Man coverage.
Yeah, and that was going to happen because, Eastern's got a very new-looking defense. They had to roll out new defensive backs, freshman cornerbacks, sophomore cornerbacks, so you knew he was going to get tested. Gerard Vines, he's a young guy. Isaiah McCoy, he's a grown-ass man, and he's a junior already. So once Eastern started stopping that from happening, I think Dustin Crum went Isaiah McCoy's, by my count, it was 5 times deep in the second half and connected 0 times. But the last time that they tried each other out and didn't connect, Eastern landed itself a penalty away from the play. Not even from one of the players. Apparently, Chris Creighton ran into one of the refs or something like that. And the ref was like, "Oh, you ran into me in the white zone? That's a 15-yard penalty." And it's like, "Oh, well, way to do this to me on 3rd and 15 after Isaiah McCoy, missed this one. What the hell?" So Kent State got a free first down, later ended up scoring on that drive to retake the lead. Yeah, and it sucked because it's not like Eastern penalized themselves into a real loss like that. If Eastern's players penalized themselves and disrupted the should have been 4th punt in a row of the second half, then yeah, I could understand why Eastern lost that game. But that, it was such an irrelevant penalty.
Yeah.
And it actually did screw up the end of the game. And I keep saying, all these little factors matter in the grand scheme of things for the season. And for that penalty to screw over this game, it's come on, man. It's not Chris Creighton was calling this guy an MFer all night because it's Chris Creighton. So what? I don't know. It's just a total ref show.
I don't know. I'm looking at this at the end of the night, and it's the way the game felt, I do kind of agree to an extent. It felt like EMU should win. But the way that the game went early, Kent State just looked like the better team from the get-go. And the fact they had to come back and then still took care of it, it's come back. You got a good quarterback. You've got talented players. You've got some decently talented defensive players. They should come back and win that game if you're in a hunt for a MAC East championship or MAC East title or whatever. But it kind of played out how I kind of thought it would. In some ways, it was an ugly game. Saw some offensive explosiveness. We said in the preview, could easily see it being a close game, being I think I even said low 20s or whatever. And it's okay, that works. That's close enough. So really have no problem with the way that game went. EMU is fighting and scratching for everything and probably trying to show everybody that they're a little bit better than they're give it credit for. And Kent State has to actually stack some weeks together and show that they're better than what they showed this time around.
Yeah, and Eastern could have done themselves some other favors too. Like I said, they weren't penalized a lot. So where were the errors? A lot of the errors, early on, the defense wasn't coming through. They finally came through in the second half. They forced 3 punts to start the second half, which is good. But the offense just squandered too many points. The opening drive, Keon Williams returns it to the 50, and EMU only gets 8 yards out of its offense and turns it over on downs. And there was just other opportunities that I'm just trying to not think of right now. And yeah, the offense just didn't look efficient.
No, and they ran for
incredibly creative.
1.9 yards a carry. So
yeah,
I'm not getting anywhere with that.
This is a hard game. This is a very hard game.
No, there's no shame in that loss, frankly.
Absolutely. And Kent State
both
earned
teams
this
played
win
some
for
good.
sure.
Yeah, they did. Both teams looked good at times, and just had parts of the game where they just kind of slowed down to an ugly little crawl, and they weren't. It wasn't just bad, but there was nothing. The game wasn't particularly explosive in
didn't.
any extent after the first quarter.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, not enough redeeming there. So, do you like Kent State's odds to be an East champion this year more than you did a few days ago?
No, but where I'm at with them was always I can see them winning it, but they're just not as talented as a Buffalo or a Miami. So nothing really changed. They kind of played to my expectations, to be honest.
Kaleb, let's close things out with some helmet stickers. We already talked about the games. We already talked about what happened and all that stuff. But let's close things out by focusing on some individual performances.
Ooh, I love helmet stickers.
All right, Kaleb, who are you going to slap in the head first?
I'm going to slap A.J. Mayer on the head of Miami. Sophomore quarterback. Alex kind of mentioned it before. He could have won the quarterback job last year, didn't, but he was ready for the first game this year after Gabbert went down with a hip injury. 3 touchdown passes, already mentioned some of the other stats. So really cool for a guy to come out, not know if there's going to be a season, and not know if he's going to play, make a big impact like that. So props to him to get a big old smack on the head.
I'm going to give Anthony Ekpe a helmet sticker. You may not have ever heard of him, but that's because this is his first game with the Ball State Cardinals. He used to be a linebacker for Rice, which meant he's a nerd. He's a Texan, which means that if he ever heard me say that, he'd come and kick my ass. He did a lot of ass kicking against Miami in his first game. We hyped up Miami's defense a lot. But Ekpe, 4 tackles, 3 tackles for loss, 2 sacks, 1 forced fumble. If he keeps having games like that, Ball State's going to take that next step forward to get that MAC West title.
So let's give you another weird one. Trayvon Rudolph of NIU, true freshman, was originally a walk-on, got a scholarship. He had more kick return yards in his very first college football game than NIU had the entire 2019 season.
That's How many did they have?
So NIU had about 142, I think it was 142, 141 kick return yards last year.
Uh-huh.
A ton of fair catches because if you call a fair catch, between the end zone and the 20-yard line, whatever, you just take it from the 20-yard line. Right. So, 25. And NIU had so many fumbles and stupid plays last year, so they would just call fair catches so often. So NIU finally has a guy who could take the ball in the end zone. Trayvon Rudolph, 151 kick return yards, 2 receptions for 56 yards, first ever college football game. Not in a win, but NIU is going to have a lot of production from freshmen this year. So I guess keep watching out for Trayvon Rudolph, bud. You get a big old sticker.
I'm going to hand out a few more helmet stickers from that game, but I'm going to turn the attention to Buffalo's defense because they scored 3 times against NIU. If you can't really expect Buffalo's defense to score touchdowns. It's not fair for me to expect them to do that. But if these guys like Tim Terry, Isaiah King, and Kadofi Wright all keep making big plays like that and keep making offenses regret that they keep making mistakes like that, Buffalo's going to win the East if they keep doing this.
Ship. They're going to the ship. Yeah, exactly. So my final helmet sticker goes to Troy Hairston, the second of Central Michigan. So CMU was in a place they needed somebody to kind of come in as a pass rusher this year. I don't know if Troy Hairston's a fix there, but he had 3 sacks, a forced fumble, and 7 tackles. He had 2 sacks, 29 tackles, all of 2019. And Central Michigan seems like the type of team where if you do your job, you can fit into a new role or see your role increase in significance. Troy Hairston seems to be the guy who's taking advantage of just that. So really big performance against Ohio. And so he gets my final helmet sticker.
My final helmet sticker goes to Cam Odom, not because he caught 1 pass for 26 yards against Central Michigan, but it's because of what he did off the field before the season. Over the summer, he organized this Bobcats lead change, pretty much had to get his team registered to vote, just like every other college team around here. Cam Odom, he helped get Kenny Stills, the NFL wide receiver, in on the conversation, helped get his team motivated to register to vote. They talked about it during the game, had a list of guys that are on this board, including some coaches like Dwayne Dixon and Brian Metz, some other players like Austin Conrad, Kay Caesar, Julian Ross, Demontre Tuggle. They're all on this thing too. So Really awesome to see Cam Odom, one, make the change he wants to see in the world, two, actually put the work ethic into good use, and three, I mean, shit, he really did make the change he wanted to see in the world. He got his team registered to vote, and they did. So good on him.
Yeah,
that stuff matters way more than football.
Sure, and a lot of really good, really cool moments from MAC teams this year, whether it was racial justice, organizing the vote, protesting, or just raising consciousness about political issues. So a lot of really cool moments this offseason. So yeah, props to Kim Odom.
Can I hand out one more helmet sticker, and then we can get out of here? Just one.
You've been nice. You've been nice. You can hand out one more sticker.
Yes, you can hand out a sticker. If you, listening, watching, if you have been a mask police, if you have been getting on other people's cases about masking up or social distancing or washing your hands or literally everything to prevent the COVID virus from getting any more crazy than what it already is, we're up to 120,000 daily cases a day. We don't want to talk about it, but we have to know that this college football season, we can't take it for granted. Without people like you that have been masking up and forcing others to do the same, you're the reason why we got to see week 1 MACtion. And if you guys keep it up and if more people take your lead, we will see weeks 2, weeks 3, weeks 4 in a championship game eventually. But if and only if we do the responsible thing. So
God, I hope so. Thing. It's been so nice having football back, man. It's so great to have MAC football back. Nothing's guaranteed, but thank God we had this week.